So these are quite useful things to learn to identify, only from the perspective, as a forager at least, of knowing what to avoid when we're picking certain things. So they're not something that you'd want to eat. These are Arum maculatum, which is Lord's and Ladies or Cuckoo's pint. And I've seen these really regularly growing in the middle of patches of wild garlic. So I'm going to show you how to differentiate from wild garlic, but also how to differentiate from sorrel, because when they're young, people worry that they're going to mistake them for that as well. So wild garlic has this pointy end, like this one does, but it has a similar shape. It kind of narrows down towards its stem as well. It has a stem, comes up, goes out, and then in again at the top. These have, where the stem joins the leaf, I always say it's a little bit like rabbit ears or something. It goes backwards from the point where it joins to make a kind of heart-shaped leaf. So that's quite different from wild garlic. These are often, can you see, quite shiny, quite kind of show-offy. When they start flowering, they're very different as well, because the flower, wild garlic will have a kind of spherical spray of little white flowers, whereas these will have, they're related to calla lilies, Arum. So they'll have something that looks quite calla lily-esque, a kind of like a central pole with a big one petal wrapped all the way around it. And these will also have berries, kind of look like they're just stuck around a stick, sticking out of the ground later on in the year. All of the parts of this are poisonous. They have oxalate crystals, which can be very irritating, can cause kind of burning and pain in the mouth before you even get to swallow them. They're quite unpleasant. People often think that they can avoid eating these just because of the smell. They don't smell like wild garlic. The issue with that is that once you're picking wild garlic in a big patch of wild garlic, everything smells of wild garlic, including your hands. So when you raise this to your nose to give it a sniff, it will probably smell like wild garlic because your hands do. So it is important to check that stem attachment. Is a really nice way to check it against wild garlic, just because it's so obvious. The other thing that people worry about is that when we're teaching people to identify sorrel, we also talk about it going backwards from the stem with these little rabbit ears. And whilst this is a lot bigger than most sorrel, you do get big sorrel and you do get small Lords and Ladies. So this here is quite small. A nice way of identifying this and differentiating it from sorrel is the vein pattern. So sorrel's is much more typical. I will do a video on sorrel. There is some growing up at the top of the road, but it may be tomorrow or the next day. This, if you look, has, I've heard it called the ring of death. I think that's probably a little bit dramatic, but the veins go, they're kind of higgledy-piggledy until they reach their own margin, like a few mil inside the margin of the leaf. So it looks like one ring of vein going all the way around the outside of the leaf. And that's a really nice way to differentiate it from sorrel. Do press like and subscribe and enjoy your foraging.